This video provides a demonstration of the gauge point attachment process required for large specimen AMPT cyclic fatigue testing. Gauge points are referred to by several different names, including studs and targets. However, gauge points will be used throughout this video for clarity. Gauge points are used to attach LVDTs or other on-specimen deformation measurement systems to the test specimen prior to AMPT cyclic fatigue testing. When using plastic steel epoxy, the following safety precautions are recommended: safety glasses, gloves, and lab coat. Additionally, the plastic steel epoxy produces harmful vapors. Work with the epoxy in a well-ventilated area. The following equipment, materials, and supplies are required to attach gauge points to a large specimen: cord and cut 100 mm diameter and 130 mm tall test specimen, gauge point fixing jig, 6 gauge points, 2 per LVDT, small spatula or another mixing tool, quick setting epoxy, mixing surface for epoxy, such as cardboard, metal, glass, plastic, approximately 2 inches by 2 inches, balance with 0.01 gram solution, paper towel or scrap cloth. Inspect the gluing jig to make sure that it is clean and working properly. Attach the gauge points to the gluing jig by pulling the black grips at the end of each arm and placing the gauge point oriented as shown. Release the black grip and ensure the gauge point stays securely aligned. Repeat for all 6 gauge points. Place the specimen in the gluing jig. The epoxy used in this video is DevCon 10240. If using a different epoxy, follow the manufacturer's mixing and curing instructions. Place the mixing surface on the balance. Tare the balance. Measure out approximately 0.85 grams of the black epoxy resin on one side of the mixing surface. Then wipe the spatula on a clean paper towel or scrap cloth. Tare the balance and measure out approximately 0.5 grams of the white epoxy hardener on the other side of the mixing surface. Mix the 2 parts of the epoxy together with the mixing tool until a uniform gray color is achieved. Use the mixing tool to place a small dollop of epoxy on each gauge point. Then engage the attach switch so the gauge points attach to the specimen. Remove any excess epoxy which could impede attachment of the displacement transducer hardware. Leave the specimen in the jig until the epoxy has set. For this epoxy, approximately 15 minutes is sufficient. After the epoxy has set, disengage the attach switch and remove the specimen from the gluing jig.